Hello everyone, Sableye here and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over my stream match versus Joe UX9 from this past weekend's Fort Wayne Regional Championships. And of course we're just going to basically be going over my thought process and adjustments that I feel like I could have made throughout the set. And all in all, just kind of the matchup in general. So I say we jump right into things and we'll go from there. So we're going to see the leads hit the field right here. It's going to be a Moongus Palafin on my end versus Iron Bundle Gambit on Joe's end. Now, the big concern with Joe's team is really just the two things that are on the field in front of me right now. I can pretty much pivot around anything else that he has, but these two things on the field, they scare me. And just because like my King Gambit matchup in general is not great, I can play around it pretty nicely, but with a bundle on the field as well, it's terrifying. Now, I can kind of get around it. It's a little bit difficult, but it's winnable. It's just a little tough, right? Because right now, Joe could easily Terra into Terra Flying right now and kill my Amoonguss. So I'm going to switch in Ting Lu, and I'm basically just going to protect the Moongus because there's nothing that they can do that's going to kill my Ting Lu on switching. I get to reset my Palafin and set it up for later, and just eat a double up if they go into a Moongus. So thankfully they actually opt to not go for the Terra Flying here, and this is one of those ones that's actually really good for me because of the bulk that I have on my Amoonguss. I'm pretty physically bulky since I'm next to a Ting Lu, so I'm able to basically sit beside Bundle and King Gambit and eat the Assurance. Now, I don't think I'm going to actually survive this attack, but I think there is a legitimate chance that I'm going to survive this attack, right? With the defense boost, maybe they're not like offensive King Gambit, maybe they're not a very offensive Bundle, and because of that, I'm able to actually just sit in front of it with Amoonguss, and maybe I'll survive this here, which is what I go for, because if they commit to the Terra Flying, well then they can go for that, but then they've committed their Terra. They probably have something that they want to Terra in the back. It's very early to commit, and there's a very good chance, and I'm sure 90% of the times Joe does this, it's going to get the knockout. But here's the Assurance coming out. Amoonguss, like I said, is going to manage to tank that. Could have been a low roll on both ends. Really tough to say if that's guaranteed, but I would like to believe that there's less attack investment on Joe's King Gambit there, and because I protected turn 1, it made it look like I was a little bit more afraid. So it was basically like, okay, Joe's going to think that's just going to knock out, so I don't have to worry about the Terra right now. Amoonguss is going to be able to get this Spore off, and we do get the Spore onto the bundle. Now, this is one of those ones where is Joe just going to kill Amoonguss? In my opinion, Joe is not going to just kill Amoonguss here. It's one of those ones where I probably am protecting Amoonguss or pivoting out Amoonguss to try and gain positioning. So he's going to try and chip down this Ting Lu sooner rather than later. So my Amoonguss is probably going to be pretty safe to just click Spore. Iron Bundle, of course, guaranteed its turn of sleep right now. So you're going to see it take a nice little nap. And we do get the call right on the Amoonguss play. Ting Lu is going to tank that pretty nicely. Bundle is going to get chipped a little bit. And King Gambit is now going to take a nap as well. Now, this is one of those ones I have to get one of these two things off the field as soon as possible, because Palafin Fluttermane in the back can probably clean up as long as I'm smart enough. So this is one of those ones where I'm going to go after Bundle. Bundle needs to basically wake up. I don't need to get King Gambit off the field right now since it can have potential to wake up. I'm going to go right after this Iron Bundle. Joe does opt to stay on the field. Nice little Pollen Puff Heavy Slam, and we're just going to basically take the knockout here. And this is exactly what I needed, because with Bundle gone, Palafin can go crazy versus Joe's team. The only other thing that really stops it is Amoonguss. But if Joe has Amoonguss here, it felt like a little bit of a risky bring in game 1 to me. I feel like he wanted the damage with Fluttermane and Garchomp, especially because I could have brought things that just beat Amoonguss a little harder. So Joe's going to bring in the Garchomp here, and it's just basically, if I try to go with the Will-O-Wisp play to shut down his King Gambit, he wants his Garchomp, right? So it makes sense that he has the Garchomp here. And at this point, I'm feeling pretty comfortable. Some sleep turns would be nice if we can get them. I basically need to have Palafin and Fluttermane on the field at the same time, and that is basically going to seal the deal for me. So this is what I have to do here, right? I'm going to protect the Amoonguss to allow Ting Lu to get chipped down to a spot where it can go down next turn to the double up. And basically then I can actually get my Palafin Fluttermane on the field with ease as soon as possible. Now, they do commit to the Terra Flying here. I guess they just don't want to take Stomping Tantrum chip damage from the Ting Lu, which is perfectly fair, right? Going to protect the Amoonguss here, and I'd imagine they also want to just Earthquake beside themselves, right? So they're going to Earthquake here with their Life Orb Chomp. I just let the Terra happen. I don't need to chip this King Gambit down anymore. The Stomping Tantrum chip into a Wave Crash from my Palafin in the back will always be killing these King Gambits, so I don't need to kill it anymore, right? If they try to make a pivot, Stomping Tantrum is probably my safest play. Yeah, it's going to look pretty silly here going into the Terra Flying, but it doesn't matter to me. My end game right now is have Flutter Palafin on the field in front of Garchomp King Gambit. Garchomp can't tear into a fire type. Even if it could still, it would be in front of a Palafin, so it wouldn't want to. And depending on what they have in the back, Fluttermane and Palafin kind of go crazy. If there's an Amoonguss in the back as their last mon, I also have Substitute on my Booster Energy Amoonguss, my Booster Energy Fluttermane to help deal with those Amoongusses in endgames exactly like this. So I felt like I was pretty safe coming into this endgame here, even if I lost both here. So King Gambit is going to wake up, is going to take down to Tinglu, and we're in a perfect position. Now, of course, I don't know if there's an Amoonguss in the back or if it's a Palafin in the back. Sorry, not a Palafin, or if it's actually the Fluttermane. I know it's probably one of those two just based on team preview and based on how Joe's playing the game. I'm still banking on it being Fluttermane because I feel like Joe would have brought Amoonguss in sooner had he had Amoonguss. And now he's kind of pinned where I have a massive Wave Crash, and Wave Crash is going to kill King Gambit. And a Sucker Punch from King Gambit will never kill my Fluttermane. So I have a free Moonblast into the Garchomp slot and a Wave Crash into the King Gambit slot, assuming there's no Amoonguss in the back. But if there's an Amoonguss in the back, it's either eating a Wave Crash or a boosted Gambit or a boosted Fluttermane attack, which either or I'm pretty content with here. Joe's going to smartly go for the Assurance just in case that he survives the Wave Crash or something like that, which I think is correct because you're not getting the knockout on Fluttermane, right? I also have the opportunity to Substitute, which I was not going to do in this case because I feel like Joe's just going to see the Substitute on a team sheet, say, hey, I have to attack, just because if he does get the free Substitute, it doesn't help me, right? So I'm just going to get the double attack off. Gambit's gone, Garchomp is gone, and now it's basically a question of what's in the back. If it's Amoonguss, I win the game because I click sub Wave Crash. Amoonguss isn't breaking through my Fluttermane here to win this endgame. It can't put me to sleep for a long enough amount of turns. If it's the Fluttermane, it's perfectly pinned. I Jet Punch twice and it goes down, or I get a Jet Punch and then they kill my Palafin and my Fluttermane gets to kill, right? So Joe's going to smartly forfeit, not really wanting to reveal any information, and we'll take game one pretty handedly. And this is what I like, right? Obviously, got a little bit lucky, I guess you could say. Maybe it was a damage roll in the Amoonguss, but we'll definitely take game one. And game two is a whole other story. We'll get into that in a second. Okay, and here we are with game two. I decided to mix it up. I don't know why. I guess I wanted to put a little bit more pressure on King Gambit and Iron Bundle. But all in all, this was a very, very poor turn one for me. But at this point, I'm kind of here, and we're going to try to piece our way through this. So I think in the moment, I was like, I need to put pressure onto King Gambit Bundle immediately. So I might as well just lead Tinglu, and I'll try to reset my Palafin later and set it up later. That was not the play. I should not have been going for that. Either way, here's one of those ones where I'm like, okay, Joe may try the roll again. Honestly, though, he's just going to be smart. Going to commit to Terra Flying and drop my Amoonguss. I have zero reason to not click Protect on Amoonguss here. You know? They can't double up and kill my Tinglu. There's really nothing going on here. It's just me saying, Joe, I don't want my Amoonguss, you can have it. And probably shouldn't have done that because I think that was a really bad turn for me. But here's the double up. Amoonguss is going to go down. And Tinglu decides to Ruinate into Iron Bundle, which I think is incorrect looking back at this. But you know what? It's what happened here. And I should have Ruinated King Gambit because if I Ruinate into the King Gambit, it allows my, once again, like I said, the Wave Crash to kill. In fact, I could probably bring in Baby Dolphin and Terra Water Wave Crash and just kill had I done that. But because this King Gambit's still at full HP, Fluttermane Palafin in the end game is not winning me this end game, right? I'm not winning this. At this point in time, I'm not getting out of this right here, right? Like, at this point, I kind of just have to shuffle my pieces around and see if I can shuffle around long enough to get to an end game. They're actually going to double the Tinglu, which is an interesting play, right? Because like I guess they feel like I have a high chance of protecting Fluttermane because Fluttermane doesn't want to be here, right? I'm going to try and pivot in my Palafin here so I can reset it next turn, but all in all, it's not a great switch in, right? Palafin don't want to be here. Fluttermane's going to click Protect. Just because I was expecting Joe to at least put a little bit of pressure into the Fluttermane, but a really good call from Joe's in there. There's a Hydro Pump, and here's an Iron Head, and it's just too much damage at this point, guys. I can't come back from this. You know, Palafin has no health. I have no more recovery. I can't Pollen Puff myself because, you know, Amoonguss is just gone from turn one because I decided to forget how to play the game for a bit. But you know what? Joe's playing to his outs. Joe's playing really, really well. And I feel like that's something, and I say this a lot on my channel, is that like I'll say that like I've been playing poorly, And like people are like, oh, but you gotta give credit. You gotta give credit to your opponent. They're playing well. Why are you calling your opponent bad? It's like, I'm not. It's just one of those ones where I feel like I should be putting up a better fight, you know? Because like I'm not playing this game too very, very well, right? At this point, I've committed to this process. I'm bringing in my Ting Lu, and I'm basically gonna try and get a substitute up and see if they want to double the Dolphin again. Iron Bundle is gonna go Icy Wind. They are gonna miss the Ting Lu, but it is gonna slow my Flutter Mane down. And at this point, there's not a whole lot I can do here. I can try to switch out. The substitute's going up. At this point, I'm like, okay, if he actually targeted the Palafin with this Assurance, I'm in an interesting spot. But they go correctly, just realizing that I can't protect again on the Flutter Mane. Just making sure I don't get that substitute up. Really, really nicely played. I am fighting for my life here at this point, right? They're going to Iron Head. I'm going to... Right, at this point, it's like, I'm going to try and get another substitute up. Because right now, that's my win condition, right? If they try to start focusing down Ting Lu, there's chances I can kind of pull this one back, right? If I get substitutes up, maybe get some damage off, there's something. But at this point, I'm so far behind that they decide to click Hydro Pump. Ting Lu is whatever, eats it. But I do get a substitute up right now, and the question is, where are they going with the King Gambit? I have a feeling like they're going to break this up again, but they actually do opt for the Ting Lu. They just want to take it down right now. And Heavy Slam, a little bit of chip damage, once again into Bundle. Once again, I don't know why I'm not chipping down King Gambit. Like, I'm looking at this back, and it's like Dazzling Gleam. If I don't have Gleam, but like I already kill Bundle with a move whenever I want. You know, at this point it's at the Jet Punch. Now I should definitely start killing King Gambit here. I'm gonna protect to just kind of sit in front of keep my substitute up, and basically if they want to double Ting Lu, they can double Ting Lu, right? But I think at some point they have to pressure down my substitute on my Flutter Mane, right? So gonna put that protect up here. Flutter Mane's gonna have the protect. Freeze Dry going into Ting Lu. Ting Lu is going to survive because Ting Lu is absolutely goated. Iron Head is going to go out. Like I said, they're going to try and break this sub. Here's a Ruination, and this is, I believe, a missed Ruination, and this one really hurts. I think I was too far back in this game anyways to come back from this one, I'll be honest with you. Although getting that Ruination, potentially setting up for a Moonblast to simply just kill off King Gambit the next turn, was really, really interesting. There's also a chance if they go for Freeze Dry that I'm going to survive this turn, right? If I hit that Ruination, I would have liked to see had Moonblast been able to kill King Gambit in that game. I really would have, right? I don't know if Moonblast does 50%. I really don't think it does, but a Ruination into a Moonblast into a Jet Punch definitely would have killed, right? But yeah, no, okay, yeah, we would have definitely needed another Ruination on top of that one. King Gambit is going to get the special attack drop, which obviously doesn't really change anything here. It does give him a +2, but every one of my pieces was dead to the King Gambit anyways, so it is what it is at that point. Yeah, okay, it kind of sucks that they got the +2 now, but there's a Ruination. I have to go for it this time. Ruination into King Gambit, and now it's one of those ones I have to call if they Sucker Punch. And Joe should be clicking Sucker Punch every time here. And I basically need Joe to kind of get greedy and not click Sucker Punch. But Joe needs to be clicking Sucker Punch every time right here. I'm going to protect just to stall out a turn. And I need Ting Lu to survive the turn. If Ting Lu can survive the turn, I have something right now. Right? They're going to opt for the Freeze Dry. Ting Lu is going to survive. We are going to see the freeze onto the Ting Lu. Really, really unfortunate. But the thing is, I wanted Ting Lu to go down here. Because if Ting Lu goes down here, I get my Palafin in to a spot where I can potentially Terra Water Jet Punch. And then have Flutter Mane maybe live something from the bundle. It's unlikely, but there's an outside shot that becomes the case, right? Or I could call the fact that they Sucker Punch and I Jet Punch into bundle. Like, I have opportunities if I go down there, but like I obviously don't go down. It is what it is at this point. They bring in Flutter Mane. I can't do anything since my Flutter is slower, so even if I try to set up like a substitute, I'm losing a piece here. And I'm losing both pieces pretty much. Joe's going to have specs. Joe's going to walk in. He's going to click Sucker Punch, Dazzling Gleam, or even Assurance Dazzling Gleam to kind of cover if I try to like make a pivot. I think both of which are perfectly fine plays from Joe's end. It's really just, at this point I'm thinking, is there anything else I can actually do to maneuver my way out of this game? And the answer is no. Yeah, they just opt to Sucker Punch. My win con is that Joe decides to not do that. But my win con is that Joe decides to not do that, and then Joe decides to lock Moonblast into Ting Lu for some unknown reason. That would have been my win con there. It was never going to happen. And that's going to pretty much wrap up game 2. So here I easily could have forfeited. 1, I have a chance of potentially seeing what they have in the back. 2, I want to see how much damage I can actually do to Flutter Mane if they're going to actually allow me to get the damage into Flutter Mane. So Terra Water Jet Punch normally just kills Flutter Manes, right? So this is one of those ones where I'm kind of... I want to see how much damage I'm doing into Flutter Mane to see if I can figure out how bulky your Flutter Mane is moving forward in this set. Because I'm not winning this game too, right? It's I need to write the I need to jot this down. I need to know how much damage I can do if I'm gonna get a chance to do it, right? And I'm guaranteed information this turn because I'm either getting the damage output onto Flutter Mane, and then I can jot that down for game 3, or they're gonna switch out Flutter Mane. I'm gonna see what they brought in the back, and I was like, I can jot that down for game 3, right? So all in all, I could have forfeited there, but I wanted to pry out a little bit more information in that sense. But we'll get into game 3. I didn't realize the stream glitched there without the cameras, but we'll get into game 3 for you guys. Alright, so we're going to kick things off in game 3 here. I'm going to go Flutter Palafin this time, and because this is basically my thought process, I'm going to be the faster Flutter Mane. Based on the fact that Joe's Flutter Mane was capable of surviving the Terra Water Jet Punch, I should be faster. And that's kind of where I was going with this. Very smart play by Joe to just start spamming damage and to keep the bundle in the back, right? I think Joe made a really, really good adaptation here. I also made a little bit of an adaptation of my own. I do have Excalibur in the back on this one, right? But this is basically switch in Ting Lu, and I think I protected my Flutter Mane because I can't go substitute because I'm expecting to be faster. And because I'm expecting to be the faster Flutter Mane, if I sub and they Dazzling Gleam to break the sub and then they Spore, I'm asleep and I've lost the game basically at that point, right? I can't have my Flutter Mane go to bed. So at this point, it's one of those ones where I need to make that call. So I believe I just protected and got Ting Lu in pretty safely in front of this. No, I decided to Shadow Ball. Don't ask me why I decided to Shadow Ball. I don't know about that. I guess it's okay. But like, I really think I could have had better plays here. Obviously, sub wasn't helping me. But now I just take 50% from that, and I believe I go to bed. So I was just talking about how I don't want to go to bed, and I don't want to get put to sleep. But here I am letting myself get put to sleep. Not a great play. Obviously, a little bit more, not as straightforward as like you would think it is, right? But like, still, I definitely should have played that turn a little bit better. This is one of those ones where I go for the Terra Grass on my Ting Lu. I think I kind of tunnel visioned on this one. It's one of those ones where I Terra Grass because basically if they Rage Powder or try to Spore into me, I'm guaranteed to get the KO onto this Flutter Mane, which is what I want to go down, right? I want the Flutter Mane gone because I have a Excalibur in the back. But I think Joe seeing Terra Grass doesn't actually need to doesn't need to click Spore here because he knows I'm Terra Grass. He's not going to click Rage Powder knowing that I could prank him like that. If I don't waste my Terra and I simply just Heavy Slam the Flutter Mane, I believe I would have survived the Dazzling Gleam because I don't think it did 50% the first time. So I probably would have survived the Dazzling Gleam without needing to Terra Grass. I would have lost Ting Lu. Oh yeah, I easily would have survived. But actually I might have survived with Ting Lu as well. But either way, at that point I would have taken a lot more damage on Ting Lu to kill a Flutter Mane, which would have been really, really good. And I could have saved my Terra, right? The ability to save my Terra needed to happen. I needed to save my Terra for King Gambit. For Excalibur to help deal with King Gambit, right? I'm not in the best of positions right now. It's really a question of... Flutter Mane, thankfully, is going to wake up right here and drop a nice little Shadow Ball for the extra chip damage. But it's not a position that really is going to get me out of anywhere here. Ting Lu going to get Iron Head Ear here. This was a ruination into the King Gambit. I will be honest with you guys. I could have just said, oh my goodness, this was a fissure into Amoonguss, but it was a ruination into King Gambit. He covered for that by Pollen Puffing himself back up. So it wouldn't have mattered at all. That flinch does not matter. It's unfortunate. It looks unfortunate. But I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not going to lie here. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, that's such an unfortunate flinch, because it didn't matter. He healed himself up. Yeah. There's nothing there. I'm going to protect here because I do still think Joe should be Sucker Punching at some point to try and try to get rid of Flutter Mane here. Very, very smart play by Joe to drop the Ting Lu instead right there, because I could have got a lot more damage off here. I also could have had... Am I in range of substitute? I think I'm out of substitute potential. I believe I'm too low in HP to sub, so I think I kind of had to just call that and just kind of attack. But I also didn't want to get put to sleep. Now my Excalibur comes in. This is the adjustment here. So there's really nothing I can do here other than try to call the fact that if Amoonguss is going to protect, right? We know there's no Fluttermane. I have to make this call right now, and this is the important one. So if I make the call, we're in a pretty good spot, because what it allows me to do is, okay, well, if they don't protect and I kill the Amoonguss, well, then Amoonguss is gone, and then it's King Gambit Iron Bundle in a pretty good spot for me, right? But I simply have to make the call, right? There's also a chance that I know it's Bundle in the back. I'm going to try to save my Fluttermane here just to maybe do something at a later date. I don't know really why I saved that, but I feel like they're either protecting and hitting. I don't think there's a risk of them hitting Baxcalibur here, right? This is where having Terra Poison would be really, really nice if I didn't waste the grass on Tinglu, right? We're going to go Icicle Spear into the Protect. Unfortunate, not enough to get me out of that. If I would have called this turn, we would have been in a good spot. But there's an Iron Head, and that's going to put Baxcalibur in Sucker Punch range. And that effectively ends the game now, guys, because there's nothing I can do here, right? I have to figure out what's going on. Joe should be going after Baxcalibur time and time again right now. There's really no reason not to go after that slot. I am now on the back foot because both pieces that can actually hit Amoonguss are forced to click priority moves to be going before the King Gambit Sucker Punch, and it's just not enough, you know? I don't maneuver my way out of this. It just doesn't happen. I can try. If I call the Protect from Amoonguss there, though, right, and protect my own Baxcalibur, the next turn I have to call if Amoonguss switches out or not. I probably make that call and click Glaive Rush into it, and then I can potentially get the Glaive Rush. And if the Glaive Rush connects into... If the Glaive Rush could connect into a Iron Bundle switch in, it actually puts me in a position where I could win the game here. Also, had I gone Wave Crash Glaive Rush here, I also could have been in a position, but I really expected just a Sucker Punch from Joe. There was no real reason not to click Sucker Punch there. I mean, obviously, it's a pretty obvious protect on my end, but I feel like the moment I feel like not clicking Sucker Punch there allows me to potentially get that back, right? It allows me potentially back into the game, right? Because if I would have doubled King Gambit there, I actually might get the kill with a Glaive Rush, or at the very least, put it in spot where it's going down to an Ice Shard. And then they can't Pollen Puff themselves because I'm forcing them to Rage Powder the Ice Shard away. Here, it's basically I need to crit the Ice Shard to kill the Amoonguss, and then if I get that, there's a chance. But I'm still confident there's an Iron Bundle in the back here because I know what Joe has dropped for Amoonguss, right? I know he has Iron Bundle. I'm not winning this game at this point. Sucker Punch, I do manage to dodge the Sucker Punch, but at this point, they just start healing up their own King Gambit. I need some good sleep turns. I need a lot to happen here in order to have a chance, you know? It's just not going to happen at this point. King Gambit's too healthy. I have a red HP Fluttermane. It's just not going to happen. I mean, I think mistakes were made earlier on in the game. I wasted my Terra Grass a little bit too early in this game 3. I got the call wrong on if Amoonguss is going to protect or not. If I would have had my Terra Poison, it's a lot less of a call, right? I don't have to make the call if Amoonguss protects or not because taking an Iron Head isn't going to immediately put me in Sucker Punch range because I'd be Terra Poison. Whereas this way, taking that Iron Head put me in Sucker Punch range, and it really limited everything else I could do. There's an Ice Shard. I have to go for it. Still not going to get the kill. That Amoonguss just won't go down. Smart play by Joe to just click the Iron Head there. There's nothing I could have done at this point. I believe, did they heal themselves up again, or did they just click like Puff? I don't even remember at this point. It wouldn't have even mattered. Oh, they did. I honestly, or they might have even Rage Powdered. I don't even know. At that point, this game's over now. They just continuously Sucker Punch Fluttermane. And I need to kind of get some sort of miracle with my Palafin here. But there's a bundle in the back. I don't win the game, you know? There's a bundle in the back at full health. I can't win this game from this point. I'm just kind of holding out to see maybe something crazy will happen, you know? Like I said, I'm going to go for the Protect. It's all but said and done here, guys. It's Palafin maybe wakes up. See, if Palafin can wake up here and it's not bundle in the back, well, then maybe there's a chance, but... Sucker Punch does go into the Fluttermane here. That's fine. He can just continuously do that. There's zero reason to not continuously click Sucker Punch now. Because Palafin is not a threat. Right? Basically what I need to happen here is I need him not to click Rage Powder. And I need to be able to get a Wave Crash into the King Gambit for a crit. In order to kill it. And then my Palafin has a chance. My Palafin and Fluttermane have a chance to clean the game. Right? I need to somehow, some way get to a spot where I miraculously end up with bundle versus the two of my pieces. It's not going to happen. I can pray for it, but it's not going to happen, right? Joe's just a smart enough player. I'm never going to get the kills in the positions that I need him to get. I do Jet Punch there because I'm trying to say that I don't want to take any extra recoil that I don't necessarily have to take. The less recoil I have to take, the better. There's more of a chance that I can survive the freeze dry from an iron bundle here. But at this point, guys, it's not enough. You know, I've pretty much just wrote down bundle in my book, and I'm pretty sure I wrote an L beside in my notebook as well for game 3, because I'm not getting out of this. You know, Palafin's pretty healthy. I probably take a freeze dry, but there's nothing I can do. I have to get a triple protect, and I need them to freeze dry my Fluttermane. Basically, my win con is they need to freeze dry Fluttermane, and I get a triple protect. If I get the triple protect, they freeze dry Fluttermane, and then I crit the King Gambit. I get to my spot of I have a 2v1 versus the Iron Bundle, and then maybe miraculously there's something, because they have to spend a turn with the bundle going after my Amoonguss, going after my Fluttermane. There would have been a chance there. Wave Crash does just miss the knockout, but it wouldn't have mattered at that point because I'm already in freeze dry range. There's the Assurance finishing off the Palafin, guys. Sorry guys, I had to do a little cropping out the Twitch ad right there, but it's all good. Basically that's gonna wrap this one up, guys. Big W to Joe there. Very well played on his end, right? Got the adaptations perfectly, right? Realized what he needed to do to win that game, and basically just enforced the issue. You know, he played that way better than I did. All the credit goes to Joe. He actually did get second at the regional, so Joe was out of his mind this weekend. Big congrats to Joe for second place. Thankfully, I managed to bounce back after this and not completely scrub out of the tournament and finish day 2. Of course, if you did miss that team report, it is on the channel. It'll be linked either above or down below. It might even be the suggested content, but we'll figure it out. But thank you guys so much for watching this match analysis. So at the end of the day, hopefully these things are helpful for you guys, because like it's always something different, right? Like you can watch a set and be like, oh, he should have done this, he should have done this, but seeing my actual thought process, I feel like, is a lot more helpful. So hopefully these are helpful for you guys. I do enjoy doing them, especially when I have the opportunity to do them, because like I was on the stream, you know. So with that, we're gonna get on out of here. I'm gonna stop rambling now. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you all in a future video.